A beautiful 40-year-old woman who was extremely busy with her work had a life that had, in a way, become barren. She had no real experience of love. Then she meets a young man of 20, and their encounter changes the whole course of her story. The movie opens on a beautiful, smart 40-year-old woman who has been working at a fashion show magazine company for the last 8 years. Her name is Alice, and she takes her job very seriously. She's strict with everyone, and perhaps because of that, she hasn't been promoted in 4 years. After divorcing her husband, she lives with her 12-year-old daughter, Joy. Because Alice is so busy with work, she often leaves Joy with her sister. Her life is quite lonely. She's so wrapped up in work that she can't even make time for herself. One day, she has to travel to Brazil for company business. While on the trip, a colleague calls to tell her that a new girl has joined their company, a girl who has been lingering around the boss and who looks set to get a promotion. Hearing that upsets Alice, and she hurries to finish her work so she can return to Paris. On the flight, the man sitting next to her begins flirting with her. He's middle-aged, and Alice doesn't like him at all. Just then, a young man named Max arrives looking for his seat. Annoyed by the older man, Alice invites Max to sit next to her. Max is thrilled. It's his first time enjoying a business class seat. Alice, meanwhile, is absorbed in her laptop work. Suddenly, the plane hits turbulence, and Alice, frightened, grabs Max's hand. For Max, that moment feels like a scene from a movie. It's the first time a girl has ever held his hand, and something strange and powerful stirs in him. He falls in love with Alice. When the flight lands and Alice starts to leave, Max tries to talk to her, but Alice simply says bye and walks away. After she leaves, Max finds Alice's USB flash drive under the seat. He runs to return it, but by then she's already left with her sister's car. On the drive, Alice's sister mentions a doctor she knows. He's a very nice guy, you should meet him. But the idea of marriage bores Alice. She thinks being a single mother is better. Back at the office, Alice's friend tells her she received a call for a Max, but Alice says she doesn't know him. In fact, Max had called to return the flash drive, but Alice didn't have time to take the call. Alice then goes to her boss to ask about a promotion. Her boss bluntly says her articles are old and boring, and that she needs to bring something new and exciting. Otherwise, her job is at risk. That angers Alice. The boss points to the other girl and tells Alice to be more like her and write something romantic. Distraught, Alice stays late at the office, trying to figure out how to create something new and exciting. Her eyes land on a note Lisa had left, which mentions the flash drive. Alice remembers that the drive had fallen during the flight. She immediately calls Max. Max is at a bar at the time and asks her not to come, but Alice is desperate for the flash drive and goes to meet him anyway. Max sees her and takes her inside to introduce her to his friends. But two girls from Alice's office are also there, and they're shocked to see her with Max. Alice just wants to grab the pen drive and leave quickly, but Max says it's at his house and suggests they go there. Outside, he asks her to sit on his scooter. Alice feels a bit scared because she has never sat on a bike before. She feels awkward and can't even manage to put on the helmet properly. So Max helps her, and at that moment, the two office girls spot them from a distance. From their angle, it looks like Alice and Max are kissing. They instantly take a photo and upload it on social media. When they reach Max's house, his dad is there too. He talks a lot and tries to impress Alice by telling her things about himself. Meanwhile, Max intentionally delays giving her the pen drive so he can spend more time talking to her. After a while, he finally hands it over and asks, "Can I drop you home on my scooter?" Alice refuses, saying she'll take a taxi. He then asks if they could go out for coffee sometime. Alice just smiles, says thank you, and leaves. The next day when Alice arrives at the office, there's chaos. Everyone is staring at her strangely. She has no idea why. Then one of her friends pulls her aside, shows her the photo, and says, "People are saying you were kissing some guy." Alice insists it's nonsense and that nothing like that happened. But her boss sees the photo and gets excited. He says, "This is exactly what we need. You're dating a 20-year-old guy. It'll make it seem like you really understand the younger generation, and our magazine sales will skyrocket." Alice flat out refuses. But her boss insists that if she wants a promotion, she should go along with it and make it public. Now Alice is confused about what to do. She meets her friend John, who advises her, "You should date the guy, even if it's just for show. Your boss will be happy and you'll get your promotion." Alice doesn't feel right about it and spends the whole night thinking. But eventually, for the sake of the promotion, she decides to date Max. The next day, she shows up at Max's college in a new look. All the boys can't stop staring at her, and Max just can't take his eyes off her. Alice starts flirting with him, and the two begin talking. She tells him that back in college, she once had a boyfriend whose name also started with M. She says that the other day, when he asked her out for coffee, it brought all those memories rushing back. Alice was talking very nicely with Max, but Max was thinking something else. To him, it felt like he had entered paradise. Alice gave him an address and told him to come there that night. Actually, one of her friends was performing at a show that evening. Hearing this, Max became very excited. That night, they both went to the show where a huge crowd had gathered. Max went to get drinks. Meanwhile, the host of the show, Claude, approached Alice and started chatting with her, trying to get close even in front of Max. Max didn't like this at all and began mocking Claude's baldness. Hearing this, Alice burst into laughter, which made Claude feel insulted, and he walked away. After that, Alice and Max shared a long conversation about themselves, and Max really enjoyed it. During this time, Alice's sister called her, saying she had to visit the doctor that evening. Alice couldn't refuse her elder sister, so she told Max that her niece wasn't feeling well and she had to go home. Hearing this, Max immediately hailed a taxi and sent Alice home. Seeing how caring he was made Alice realize how much he actually cared for her. When Alice got home, the family sat down for dinner, but she annoyed the doctor with unnecessary questions. Frustrated, the doctor eventually left. Now Alice made up her mind. If she wanted to please her boss, she needed to make herself more attractive, and the only way to do that was through Max. With this thought, she took Max to a fashion show. Her company's CEO and her boss were both present. As the show began and models started walking the ramp, suddenly one model lost her balance and fell. Max immediately rushed forward, respectfully helped the girl up, and made sure she was okay. The CEO was so impressed by his gentlemanly behavior that she stopped the show right then. She turned to Alice and said, "He looks so smart. Why don't we make him a model?" Alice burst into laughter at this. Max then said, "My mom taught me that we should always respect women, and that's exactly what I did." After the show ended, Alice and Max went to a club. They had drinks, then hit the dance floor together. The atmosphere turned romantic as they danced closely. In truth, Alice was only getting close to Max to impress her boss, who was also there watching and was left stunned. But then Alice noticed a few girls secretly taking their pictures. She quickly grabbed Max's hand, and they both rushed out. Max then took her home on his scooter. At her doorstep, Max tried to kiss Alice in a romantic way, but she didn't give him the chance. She just said good night and went inside. This made Max restless. He felt like he had lost his chance. In desperation, Max ran toward Alice's apartment building, but the main gate was locked, so he climbed over the wall, trying to reach Alice's room. Just then, the door opened and a man walked out. Max seized the opportunity, slipped inside the building, and knocked on Alice's door. The moment she opened it, Max started kissing her. Alice tried to explain and stop him, but Max didn't give her a chance to say anything. What followed was a storm inside the room, so intense that Alice's window shattered. The next morning, Alice felt disturbed, wondering what had just happened between her and Max. She asked him to leave quickly, and he was about to go when it suddenly started raining, forcing him to stay a little longer. Alice brought coffee, and the two of them sat together, joking and laughing while sipping it. But just then, Alice's sister and her daughter returned home. To cover up, Alice lied to them, saying that Max worked in her office, and quickly handed him some files. Max was about to step out, but at the door, Alice suddenly stopped him and kissed him. That revealed that Alice had truly started to like Max. From that day on, the two began meeting often. Max would bring small gifts for Alice, which made her very happy. She was enjoying these moments to the fullest. They went out together, planned surprises, spent plenty of private time, and their closeness kept growing deeper. Then one day, while drinking together, Max confessed his feelings. He said, "I want to marry you. I know it sounds crazy, but I love you deeply and want to be with you forever." Hearing this, Alice fell into silence. At first, she had entered this relationship for her own benefit, but now it had turned into something real, something profound. She said, "We're very different. I'm 20 years older than you. I have a 12-year-old daughter and many responsibilities. When I'm 50, you'll still be a 30-year-old young man. What will people say? I love you, but maybe this is where we should stop." Max refused to accept this, but Alice walked away. She knew she had initially used Max, and now that she had truly fallen for him, society's judgment made her want to step back. Both of them ended up alone, and Max grew restless and depressed. He shared his pain with his father, who consoled him by saying, "Not everyone gets their first love. Life goes on. We must let go of the past and move forward with time." Meanwhile, Alice received a promotion for the new magazine, which made her happy, but she couldn't shake off the guilt. Was it right to play with someone's feelings just to get ahead? She had achieved what she wanted, but forgetting Max wasn't easy. She couldn't talk to anyone properly. When she shared this with her friend John, he told her, "The time you spent with Max won't be easy to forget. It'll take a while." A few days later, the CEO came to the office to review the magazine's cover photos, but she didn't like any of them and said she wanted a fresh face. Just then, she noticed noticed Alice's laptop wallpaper, which had Max's picture on it. She remembered him immediately. He was the same young man who had helped the model during the fashion show when she fell. The CEO insisted that Max should be the new model. Alice tried to refuse, but at her boss's insistence, she had no choice but to agree. Alice now grew anxious about how she would even approach Max. She called and texted him, but Max, heartbroken, was sitting at home drinking and never replied. Finally, Alice decided to go to his house herself. As usual, Max's dad started talking endlessly to her. To escape, Alice took Max outside for a walk. Max thought maybe Alice wanted to rekindle their relationship, but instead, she said, "You should model for the magazine. You'll earn a lot of money and get to work with beautiful girls." This made Max furious. "So after all this time, you've only come back for your work?" Alice tried to explain, but Max cut her off, saying, "I don't want to see you anymore," and walked away. The next day, everyone was ready for the photo shoot, waiting for Max. Alice was nervous. If he didn't show up, she could lose her job. But then word came that Max had arrived. He was taken to the makeup room. There, John appeared and confessed the truth to Max. "It was me who advised Alice to start a relationship with you for her promotion. It was all my fault." Hearing this, Max felt crushed. Everything suddenly made sense to him. After makeup, he walked out and everyone stared at him. As Alice approached, Max suddenly kissed her in front of everyone, making it seem like they were truly together. The photo shoot began, but since this was Max's first time, he couldn't perform well. The photographer grew frustrated and shouted at him. Annoyed, Max snapped back and, in anger, decided to walk out. Alice tried to stop him. Max thought she'd apologize to him, but instead, she told him to apologize to the photographer. That was the last straw. Max said, "I loved you with all my heart, but you were just using me." People standing around overheard this truth and were shocked. Max stormed off. The boss, now aware that Alice had used Max, fired her from the job. Alice was left completely alone. She realized that more important than her career was the man she truly loved. She felt deeply ashamed for being selfish and for what she had done. She couldn't eat properly, couldn't sleep, and grew miserable. She tried desperately to contact Max, but it was as if he had disappeared, making her even more restless. One day, Alice went searching for Max at his college. After asking some students, she learned he was in class. Without wasting a moment, she walked straight into his lecture hall, where many students and the professor were present. Everyone assumed she was there to make an announcement since they all recognized her. But instead, she began speaking from the heart. "In chasing my career, I forgot that the most important thing in life is love. I love Max, and I don't care what anyone thinks anymore, even though there's a 20-year age difference between us. When I'm 50 and he's a 30-year-old young man, I still want to spend the rest of my life with him." She broke down in tears, apologizing to Max in front of everyone. The entire class was stunned. Max, too, was moved and forgave her. Then, in front of everyone, Alice kissed him, sealing their reunion. Together, Max and Alice went on to start a new business, and with that, the movie ended.